The rain was unforgiving that Thursday afternoon in downtown Chicago. The kind of rain that made cab drivers curse under their breath and office workers huddle under two small umbrellas. Inside Marla's diner, the air was thick with the smell of grilled onions, coffee, and city fatigue. Cassie, a 24-year-old waitress working her second double shift of the week, was juggling plates and problems. Rent was due, her little brother needed new school shoes, and her phone buzzed with a dozen unpaid bill reminders. Life, it seemed, had no plans to ease up. The bell above the door jingled. Cassie barely looked up. Another customer. Probably just another table to serve. Another order to mess up. But something about this man made her pause. He was tall, maybe in his late 50s, with sharp features buried beneath a worn-out hoodie and a long brown coat that'd seen better decades. He didn't speak when he walked in, just nodded politely and took a seat at the corner booth, the one nobody ever chose. He didn't take out a phone, didn't ask for Wi-Fi, just looked out the rain fog window like he was searching for something the world had forgotten. Cassie approached with her usual smile, the kind you learn to fake when life is more storm than sunshine. Coffee? Menu? She asked. He looked up slowly. His eyes weren't tired. They were tired of pretending not to be tired. The kind that had seen things people rarely talk about. Just coffee, he said. Black. No sugar. Cassie nodded and walked off. She didn't know it yet, but this man wasn't just here for coffee. The man sat silently for a while, sipping the bitter brew like it was something sacred. Cassie kept glancing over at him, unsure why she felt watched maybe, or studied. 15 minutes passed, then 30. He didn't ask for food. He didn't talk. He just sat, thinking, watching. Cassie walked over to refill his cup, even though he hadn't asked. "You waiting on someone?" she asked. He smiled faintly. "I was." That's all he said. He stood, reached into his coat pocket, and pulled out a crumpled $5 bill and a crisp 10. "Coffee's $2.50, Cassie said quickly. "I can get you change." He shook his head. "No. Keep it." Cassie blinked. "Sir, that's more than enough." The man slid the 10 across the table with quiet finality. "For the coffee and for the way you looked at me like I was still a person." Cassie didn't know what to say. She'd served hundreds of customers that week alone, but none had looked her straight in the eye and seen her. She stood there, stunned, as the man walked out into the rain. 10 minutes later, her manager found her staring at the booth. "Cassie, you okay?" She nodded slowly. "That guy just gave me a $10 tip for a $2 coffee." Her manager raised an eyebrow. "Weird." But it wasn't just weird. It was unsettlingly quiet, like something about it echoed beyond the walls of the diner. Cassie tucked the 10 into her apron and tried to shake the feeling. That night, she couldn't sleep. She kept wondering, who tips like that? Why did he come in? Why her? The next morning, the diner phone rang. Cassie was the only one on shift when she picked up. "Marla's Diner. This is Cassie." A calm male voice replied, "Good morning. I'm calling about a man who visited yesterday." Older gentleman, long coat, sat in the corner booth. Cassie froze. "Yes." He ordered coffee. "He left something behind." The voice said. Cassie checked the booth. "Nothing. Maybe check the sugar caddy." She walked over and pulled it up. Underneath, neatly folded, was an envelope. On it, "To the waitress who didn't judge me." Inside, another $10 bill. And a note. It's not about the money. It's about remembering someone's still watching, even when you think no one is. Cassie stood in the empty diner, goosebumps rising. Who was he? And how did he know she'd be the one to find it? That night, Cassie posted the story anonymously on a city-based Facebook page. It went viral. Thousands of people liked, commented, and shared. But in the comments, someone wrote, "That sounds like Eli. If it is, he's not just some random guy. He used to be everything in this city until it all fell apart." More comments followed. Whispers about a man named Eli Waters, a former city developer, a millionaire who vanished after a scandal, a man whose name had once been on buildings. Cassie read every word, her heart racing. The coffee, The tip, the envelope. Had she just served a ghost from the city's past? Cassie decided to find him. But Eli wasn't just a man in a coat anymore. He was a man with secrets. A man who disappeared for a reason. Cassie sat on her bed, still in her uniform, knees tucked under her chin, eyes flicking across her laptop screen. The name Eli Waters kept flashing in the comments, and every article, blog post, or court document she found told the same story. Former real estate mogul, built half of downtown Chicago's new skyline, disappeared after a lawsuit involving embezzlement and betrayal. Rumors, suicide, exile, mental breakdown, secret retirement. No one had seen him in over 8 years, except her. She kept asking herself, why here? Why me? What does a man like that want with a $2.50 cup of coffee and a $10 tip? The next day, she skipped her shift. Instead, she walked 2 blocks down to the city records office, printed every article she could find on Eli Waters, and made a call to someone she hadn't spoken to in years. Her father, a retired city journalist who used to cover men like Eli. He picked up. Cassie, I think I just served a ghost, Dad. Cassie met her dad at a quiet bar on West Madison. Over a drink, Cassie laid it all out. The diner, the tip, the note, the Facebook post, the comments. Her dad's face paled. You're telling me you met Eli Waters? I think so. He shook his head slowly. Cassie, that man was once the heartbeat of the city, before it all crumbled. She slid the envelope across the table. He read the note twice, then whispered, he's not just leaving tips, he's leaving messages. Cassie blinked. What do you mean? Eli built his empire by watching people. He believed one small choice could change everything. If he gave you this, you're not just a waitress to him. You're a symbol. He's trying to fix something, or teach something. Cassie felt a cold wave ripple through her. Then I need to find him. The next clue came not from Facebook, but from a slip of paper inside the original envelope she hadn't noticed before. It simply read, Sundown House, Tuesdays, 7 p.m. A quick Google search led her to Sundown House, a half-shelter, half-support group buried in Southside Chicago, known for helping the invisible, veterans, addicts, runaways, and those who lost everything. That Tuesday, Cassie showed up at 6:45 p.m. The woman at the door eyed her curiously. You're not here for food, are you? I'm looking for someone. Name's Eli. He might not use his real name. The woman paused. Tall man, long coat? Doesn't say much. Cassie's heart thudded. Yes. The woman nodded toward the back room. He tells stories there. Not often, but when he does, people listen. Cassie stepped into the dimly lit room. There were maybe a dozen people seated in folding chairs. And at the front, Eli, but he looked different now. Softer. His coat was cleaner. His eyes less heavy. He was speaking, not looking at anyone in particular. There was once a man who built a tower so tall. He forgot what the ground looked like. One day, it crumbled beneath him. He didn't die, but he wished he had. Because when you fall that far, the silence is louder than applause ever was. He stopped, looked at the crowd, and added, but then one day, someone served him coffee and looked at him like he was still human. Cassie froze. He saw her. His eyes locked on hers. But he didn't stop talking. Sometimes you lose everything just to be reminded of what really matters. The room clapped softly. Some nodded. Others cried. Cassie couldn't move. When it ended, Eli approached her quietly. I figured you'd come. Outside, the city buzzed. Eli and Cassie stood by the rusted chain-link fence. Why me? She asked. He looked out at the skyline he once helped build. Because you didn't flinch. You saw me. Most people look through me now, like I'm a stain on their window. She frowned. But what are you trying to do? He pulled out a small notebook. Inside were names, notes, places. I'm repaying debts no one asked me to repay, and reminding people that the currency of kindness is never wasted. Cassie looked at him, amazed. But why anonymously? He smiled faintly. Because I'm not the lesson. You are. Before they parted, Eli handed her another envelope. Don't open it now. Take it to the diner. Open it at your table. Same booth. She watched him walk in the shadows again, coat blowing behind him like a man vanishing into legend. Back at Marla's diner, Cassie slid into the corner booth and opened the second envelope. Inside, a check for $10,000 and a note. You made me feel like a man again. Use this to make someone else feel like more than a number. Don't thank me. Just pass it on. Cassie sat in silence, eyes wet, chest full. For the first time in a long time, she smiled, not from relief, but from realization. The real tip wasn't moneyed, IT was purpose. Cassie wasn't just a witness now. She had a mission, and Eli wasn't done yet, because he was about to leave one more tip. And this time, it would change the city forever. Cassie stared at the check. $10,000. More than 3 months' rent. A new car. A way out. But her fingers hovered over the handwritten note again. Don't thank me. Just pass it on. She knew what she wanted to do. Not spend it. Use it. To amplify what Eli had started. She called her manager at the diner. I'm going to need a couple of weeks off. Cassie launched a campaign online, but not about money. Instead, she started something new, the $10 kindness chain. The concept? Simple. Give someone $10, a stranger, someone in need, but include a message. You were seen. You matter. Pass it on when you can. Within days, her TikTok blew up. One video showed her paying for a single mom's groceries. Another showed her leaving an envelope under a man's pillow in a hospital. Each time, she read Eli's words aloud. The currency of kindness is never wasted. And something strange happened. Strangers began copying her. A mechanic in Texas tipped a waitress $200 with a note. Thanks for the smile. A teenager in Kenya left lunch money for a classmate with a broken shoe. A pastor in Detroit donated to a woman's rent anonymously. Hashtags like Kindness Chain and the Eli Effect trended. But Cassie wasn't done. She had one more stop to make. She returned to Sundown House. But Eli wasn't there. The lady at the front desk smiled. You missed him, but he left you this. An envelope. Inside, no money, no instructions. Just one line. Final booth. Same time. This time, don't sit alone. Cassie smiled. She knew what it meant. She rented the diner out for the night. She invited everyone she'd touched during the journey. The single mom, the hospital janitor, even her old high school English teacher, who once told her stories were more powerful than fists. People showed up with envelopes. One by one, they shared what they had done with their $10 moment. It wasn't just about money anymore. It was a hug to a lonely neighbor, a ride to work for a stranger, an apology sent to an old friend, forgiveness to someone who didn't deserve it. No cameras, no fanfare, just stories. As laughter and tears filled the diner, the door opened, and Eli walked in. But this time, he wasn't in his long coat. He was in jeans, a gray sweater, just a man, smiling. Cassie rose. You came. He nodded. You brought them. She gestured to the people around. You brought them. He shook his head. No, I just planted a seed. You watered it. They sat in the same booth. Cassie leaned in. Why this way? You could have just given to charity, gone public, redeemed your name. Eli smiled softly. Because redemption doesn't come from headlines. It comes from the heart. He reached into his pocket and slid a small coin across the table. It was old, faded. On it, the inscription read, "One act can echo forever." I used to carry this, he said, when I thought success meant power. Now, I give it to people who know that true success is impact. He placed it in her hand. Later that night, Cassie went live on her channel, tears in her eyes. His name was Eli. He lost everything, but gave the world something back and forgot how to use: compassion. She held up the coin. This isn't about money. It's about meaning, about showing people they matter. So if you've ever felt invisible, forgotten, or small, know this. You can still change someone's life, even with $1, even with a smile. She paused, just like he did with $10. A new diner in a new city. A young waitress drops off coffee to a homeless-looking man with kind eyes. She smiles at him. First cup's on me. He smiles back. As he leaves a $10 bill on the table and an envelope. The waitress opens it. Inside, pass it on. She looks up, but he's already gone. Would you pass it on? What would you do with $10 to change someone's day? Drop it in the comments. Also like this video if you gained lessons. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more soul-stirring stories. Tell us where you're watching us from.